Rams will inbound. Here's Smart. Tatum on the cut, takes it all the way and slams it. He wanted a foul. He ties the game at 107.
And again, they're trying, when you set up in the backcourt with the start, you're trying to get him on the run to the rim. That could have been an and one.
And Tatum with 24 points after this throwdown. Definitely looked like a foul on Jared Allen. They didn't call it.
What's going on, dudes and dudettes? Not that much stuff to report on, so it should be a quick video. A lot of stuff happening. Starting today, Lakers play tonight against Utah, and they might play again Sunday. So I'll probably have to talk about 2 games, hopefully, as long as they're victories, on Monday. And then USC plays Cal tomorrow, so that should be fun. And then the Chargers play across the country in Atlanta to play the Falcons. So should be an easy victory because they're missing a lot of people, but it's the Chargers, and they're playing early, so that's just their luck. So let's get into this video real quick. So, yeah, I wanted to recap the Anaheim Ducks' first 10 games. I'm going to go in 10-game spurts just because it's kind of difficult to always check up on them every game or every other day or whenever the schedule is, however they do it. But in the first 10 games of the season, their record is 3-7. So I believe they started off the season with the victory, went 7 straight losses, and then, excuse me, the last 2 games have gotten victories. And I think 2 of those victories came in overtime as well. But I believe they played earlier today because I think they were up in Canada or somewhere East Coast wise playing early, and they ended up losing like 8-5, or that could have been last night. Could be wrong, but one of the most recent games they did lose 8-5. So it's good that you're scoring 5 goals, but it's really bad that your defense is giving up 8 goals. So, yeah, they got to fix that up and hopefully, gain some more momentum in the beginning of the season. But they are missing some guys, so you never know. And then ex-USC player, basketball player who's with the Atlanta Hawks right now, Onyeka Okongwu, recently passed 100 career blocks for his NBA career, which is really cool. Thought he'd take a while to get there because of how they've been playing him. They haven't really been playing him as consistent as I thought, especially because they picked him up in the first round, early in the first round, that draft. But at least he's getting some time to shine. And as you remember, a couple months back, we did talk about that they did pick up his option next year as well. So he will be sticking with the team for this foreseeable future. But yes, 100 career blocks is pretty awesome. I think he's still a really good offensive player. So if his future is not with Atlanta, hopefully it's somewhere else where he can thrive, because a lot of USC players have done that, like a Chimezi met to people like that have gone to other places and played better. Then the first college football rankings came out on Tuesday, I believe it was, the other day, which is pretty much the final say of where teams are playing in those bowl games. And like Lincoln Riley has been saying the past couple weeks, that it really doesn't matter. He doesn't even check the college football rankings until it's the very last one in December, because that's the one that really counts, and all these are just pretty much for show and kind of to get the good matchups, kind of like how I think that's why ESPN or whoever does these rankings put LSU in the top 10 at number 10, and they're playing Alabama this week, even though that's not the biggest game in college football or even the SEC biggest game anymore. It's actually going to be number 1 Tennessee versus number 2 Georgia, who is the last national champion. So that's going to be a big time game. And I don't know, I think it's actually being played early too, like around 9 a.m. here on the West Coast. So it's a really big, awesome game, and yet they're going to have these guys not playing the spotlight just because of LSU, Alabama. I don't get it, because even LSU hasn't really had that great of quality wins, and even they were ahead of one spot, I believe, of Ole Miss, who I forget if they did beat them or not, but, they still have one less loss than LSU. And like I said, it's just whole, politics and whatever, just to try to make the matchups look better, I guess. But as of right now, yes, USC is behind Oregon, another Pac-12 team, and UCLA is pretty much, I forget if they were close behind them or right in front of them. I forget. But either way, as long as USC takes care of their own business as far as winning the rest of the year, then they should be able to get not only to the Pac-12 championship, but maybe a Rose Bowl berth, maybe a college football playoff berth. You never know. So definitely looking forward to these next couple weeks coming up. Then Bleacher Report did an NFL mock draft the other day, and only two teams or two people that really stood out for me were the number 12 Chicago Bears going with a USC wide receiver in Jordan Addison, who is dealing with an injury right now and hasn't been playing, but maybe it's because it is a really bad injury and he can't come back, or he might be saving himself for his NFL future. You never know. So either way, he's still going to be a first-round pick, in my opinion, because of his talent. He was the top wide receiver overall in college football last year, winning that award. So Chicago Bears definitely need some type of offensive help, especially at the wide receiver position. And then even the Chargers pick at number 21, so I'm assuming they're saying they're going to the playoffs, or they might be just missing out, which is pretty regular for the Chargers. They would be going with a wide receiver from Wake Forest and A.T. Perry. I've known recently because I've liked the quarterback Sam Hartman, who pretty much just throws the ball so much out there in Wake Forest, over 300 plus yards average, and threw a lot of touchdowns, especially last year. He had I want to say over 50 plus touchdowns. But yes, he is one of the more talented receivers out there in the draft. And I think right behind him, there was another who was supposed to be the top wide receiver going into this season from LSU, and Keyshawn Butte, but he has underperformed quite a bit. But I think you might rather go with someone with that immense talent from a really better known school than Wake Forest, because he is playing against lesser competition, but overall still a good pickup in my opinion. So we'll see. Then WME Sports recently signed a Duke player in Jaden Shutt to a new NIL deal, and I tried to look on their profile on Twitter to see what they were, and it kind of seemed like they were like a clothing company, so maybe he's going to be dressed all nice and stuff for each and every game, showing out the product of what they're pushing out. So they have like a lot of good name people, even Christian McCaffrey, who's the running back for the 49ers, a couple other baseball and soccer players as well, even women athletes, so that's pretty cool. So it's a nice NIL deal. They at least got a Duke player who's going to be there for a bit, so that's pretty cool for them. Then when it comes to Duke, they played the other day in an exhibition game. I believe it was against Fayetteville State or something like that, really unknown school. It was kind of close for the first couple minutes, but then Duke pretty much blew them out, even though they were missing their two best players, in my opinion, Dariq Whitehead and Derek Lively. I don't really know why Derek Lively's not been playing. He might be injured. I might have missed the news on that, but for some reason he wasn't playing, and it didn't matter because Mark Mitchell, another talented freshman, stepped up. I believe he had the most points. Tyrese Proctor looked good. Jeremy Roach looked good. Kyle Filipowski looked good as well in that exhibition, and they ended up winning quite a bit, 82-45, so almost by 40 points. And yes, it is an exhibition, so it doesn't count towards your record, but at least it's like a nice, good tune-up game, because I believe last weekend they had an exhibition game, a closed-doors exhibition practice game against Houston, who is supposed to be a pretty good team this year and has been the past couple years, especially in the NCAA tournament. And Duke ended up losing that game by like around 10 points, even though they were missing a couple of those guys as well that I mentioned before. So it's a nice measuring stick, if you can say that, when it comes to seeing how you can perform, at least in the early part of the season. So as long as Duke stays healthy and gets those other two very talented guys back who could be top 10, top 5 overall picks in next year's NBA draft, I think they will be fine, especially going into the tournament. Then the other day, I want to say it was Wednesday, it was Godzilla Day, which is pretty cool. I never knew there was such a day, but Twitter was filled with a lot of posts and pictures and videos and all that stuff. And even they put some love out there for the 1998 Godzilla. I know he's the most drastically different from any of the other Godzilla looks, because he's not as stand-up. He's more of like hunched over, kind of like a raptor or T-Rex, and kind of looks a lot more different. But that's the version and the one I prefer, the look, even though it may have not have been the best film. I know people will say it's underrated. It's not underrated, it's properly rated, because it was a whole mixed bag of everything, even though they were trying to do a lot of new stuff, because, you know, it's Roland Emmerich, Independence Day, and, you know, all that extra big stuff, destruction he likes to do. But I don't know. It's weird how people still don't know how to do a Godzilla movie. They kind of did it a lot better in the most recent one, Godzilla versus Kong. But, we'll see how that goes. I know that has a bright future coming up. So, either way, happy Gojira Day. And I think Toho, the Japanese company that owns the rights to Godzilla, is actually said they were coming out with a new movie next year. So that should be pretty interesting. Definitely looking forward to checking that out when it comes around. Then a 2024 QB, DJ Lagway, looks to, I guess USC is emerging as one of the top teams to look out for him as far as him committing to them. I know a lot of people have been assuming and kind of heard the idea that the quarterback out here in SoCal, Elijah Brown, will be going to USC that year in 2024, because I know next year in 2023 they have Malachi Nelson, who's a really good prospect. But even when he comes in next year, his first year, he'll be behind Caleb Williams. Then he could have a chance to start in 2024, I believe it is, unless this guy is as good, because I know Lincoln Riley has supposedly been really high on Lagway out of Texas. He definitely believes himself as the mold of like a Jalen Hurts, Kyle Murray type of smaller, more compact running quarterback, but can still throw the ball really well down the field and accurate and stuff. So I know Malachi is a little bit taller. He's coming in next year. So we'll see. As long as USC has talent on the roster, that's all that matters to me. So definitely looking forward to that. Then the Chargers has signed another kicker in Cameron Dicker. I remember him just because the name is funny, last name Dicker, but I don't think he's had that much success in the NFL, especially if he's available. But something happened to their more recent second stringer, Bertolette, and I guess now they're down to their third string kicker, which of course always sucks, especially going on the road this weekend, but we will see. Then Coach K recently signed a multi-year extension with SiriusXM to do his little podcast / radio show. I know it's more of a radio show because I don't really see any videos online or anything like that. If there were, I would be watching the show, but I don't really listen to SiriusXM or anything like that. It's hard to listen to radio, in my opinion. I always put whatever music's on my phone and press shuffle because I know I like that music. So, yeah. Good luck to Coach K. Hopefully he does end up recording a lot of his stuff and posting it on YouTube or have someone else do it for him, because I love to hear a lot more wisdom and old stories that he has. But it's pretty cool that he's still keeping busy even after just retiring. Then an ex-Duke player, and pretty much people know him more as an ESPN college basketball analyst, Jay Billis, one of the taller, bald guys out there that talks during the game. But apparently he was recently selected to the Southern California Basketball Hall of Fame, which I never knew was such a prestige, exciting thing, so that's pretty cool. I did a lot of damage when I used to play at LA Fitness, so I'm expecting mine pretty soon, next couple years. So yes, congrats to Jay Billis, and hopefully me in the future. Then when it comes to Warner Brothers / Discovery, apparently they've recently said that they might be putting the Harry Potter verse Fantastic Beasts on hold, because there was maybe an indication that there could be a fourth film in development, but they recently said they want to put that on hold and actually start making more Harry Potter films, which obviously makes sense. I mean, there's, I believe, another book that still contains the character Harry Potter, but I think it's called The Cursed Child, but I forget if it's like a prequel or something more in the future. But I've always felt like you could do even multiple stories, kind of like how Disney is doing right now with Star Wars, where you do other stories with these off-brand or maybe not as known or secondary characters and kind of build a world around them in the same universe as Harry Potter, something like that you could do. Because I don't think Daniel Radcliffe, the actor who played Harry Potter, would maybe want to come back. I know he's had some issues with the writer J.K. Rowling, who said some stuff. I forget what she said, if it was gay related or transgender related, something like that, and he spoke out against her. So I don't know if they're on the correct foot, and who knows if she really even wants to allow them to do that as well. But if they're the other characters. Maybe they could get the rights to create a brand new character and just put it in the world somehow like that. You never know. So we'll just have to wait and see. Thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a good rest of your day. Bye. Fight on.